This is a CBC podcast.
Public Health is still investigating the source of an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease in the Moncton area. 6 people have the illness, all of them requiring hospitalization. In 2019, 16 people became ill during an outbreak that was traced back to cooling towers at Organogram's Moncton production facility. After that outbreak, public health officials recommended the creation of a province-wide registry of cooling towers. That has not happened. The province has instead said they will leave it up to municipalities to track cooling towers. Yesterday, the CBC's Harry Forrestal spoke with Chris Boyd, a public health consultant in Ann Arbor, Michigan, who specializes in Legionella. Harry began by asking Chris why having a cooling tower registry is imperative for public health agencies.
Cooling tower registries radically improve the ability of public health agencies to perform disease surveillance. So when they see an elevation in disease, they can associate it with common sources of exposure, and that reduces the amount of time needed to identify that source. And it also improves their ability to identify the source that's causing that disease and allows them to react sooner and identify a common source of exposure more quickly. When I was in New York City, we developed one of these cooling tower registration systems, and it radically improved our ability to associate individual cases of disease to common sources of exposure. We got to the point where we could respond and identify possible cooling towers associated with a burgeoning outbreak within 24 hours.
Wow. How quickly does the process take place for Legionella to become entrenched in a cooling tower and a threat to the public?
So that really depends on a range of factors and how that cooling tower is being managed. What's happening within that cooling tower system is that you have warm, recirculating water that provides an unnatural habitat for Legionella to amplify and then be aerosolized in small water droplets that get inhalated into the lungs. And that's the exposure pathway. Cooling towers can rapidly become biofouled if they're not under active management. What we have now is no expectation of behavior for how those systems are managed. Some might be managed very well and control the amplification of Legionella. Others might be under little or no control, and we have rapid amplification of Legionella.
So what else needs to be done besides the registry of cooling towers? What else needs to be done to minimize the kind of Legionella outbreaks we've seen in a place like Moncton?
I think of this as a 3-pronged process for the public sector. One is know where your cooling towers are so you can do better disease surveillance and response. You can set that up relatively quickly. Literally within about a month, using existing tools in the marketplace, we could create a registration system that improves surveillance. 2, you want to know, is that system under control? And that requires routine reporting back of Legionella sample results. So the health department knows if a cooling tower is at heightened risk and can monitor and direct the management of that risk. And then the third thing is to create an expectation of behavior by the cooling tower owners, the same way we do for elevators, industrial boilers, building facades, all kinds of engineered systems. We expect them to be operated in a way that doesn't cause illness and death. The same expectation should be for cooling tower owners as well. And that's the more robust regulatory response, creating those standards of behavior, educating building owners about what their expectations should be.
Are there examples in Canada of a jurisdiction that has successfully eliminated contamination of cooling towers?
Yes, we've got a great example in Canada of a diverse portfolio holder that is managing risk across the entire length of Canada, public sector. It's Public Services Procurement Canada. has created an internal protocol managing the risk within results of their approach. Right now, it's over 90% of all sample results are coming back free of Legionella. That's an example that we can leverage. It's a strategy of companies that do the water treatment and many different types of cooling towers.
Again, who specializes in Legionella. He was speaking with the CBC's Harry Forrestal for the cbc.ca/NB.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.